Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the StackLeague Accenture Career Session. I'm Casey Kalunod, and I will be your host tonight. We have amazing resource speakers for the session tonight who will help us explore our career opportunities in the digital landscape and maximize our skills in the new normal. But before anything else, I would like to give you an overview of Stack League, especially if it's your first time to join a Stack League event. Everyone, please help me welcome Mr. King Bartolome, our growth associate.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is King Bartolome, one of the growth associates in StackTrek. Tonight, I will be presenting a brief introduction to StackLeague. First, StackLeague is the Philippines' first year-round competitive programming league with the mission to develop programming leaders that inspire a nation into coding. StackLeague is powered by StackTrek's fully automated talent analytics and assessment platform, to which StackLeague will then gather thousands of IT students and professionals to compete and rank amongst the best programmers in the country. StackLeague, which was launched last March 16, is a pioneering programmer league gathering over 5,000 tech talents across the country to test their coding acuity with the promise of nationwide recognition, thousands of prizes, hundreds of tech job opportunities, and invitation only invites. But wait, there's more. We also have whopping cash prize. From 200,000 pesos, the cash prize is now at 300,000 and continues to increase. Of course, Stack League wouldn't be possible without our partners. We have co-presenter, JobStreet, our gold sponsors, Microsoft, Workbank, and Rakuten Viber. Silver sponsors, we have AWS and Caliber. For our bronze sponsor, we have Accenture and media partners Inquire.net and SparkUp. We'd also like to thank our community partners who help the league reach as many programmers in the country as possible. Moving forward, for those who are new in Stack League, this is how the ranking system works. You will start at the bottom with 0 points. You solve as many challenges as you can and earn points. The more points you get, the higher your ranking goes. The more opportunities are unlocked for you to access. These are the supported programming languages of the league. We have JavaScript, Java, Python, C Sharp, and PHP. To share to everyone, one of the highlights of Stack League is the weekly ranking and treasure chest. Last week was our last treasure chest for the individual category. But don't you worry, guys. We are excited to announce the opening of the treasure chest for team category. That'll be on September 5. Team category was launched last July 11. Now you can compete with a team consisting of 3 to 5 members for points and prizes, where the total points of the team is the sum of all individual points earned by each member. And for those individual players who missed their chance for the treasure chest, I am so happy to announce that we are opening the Stack League playoffs this September. Here's a short clip for you to see.
Okay, so thank you, King, for giving us a short introduction of what Stack League is all about. So, if there's anyone here interested in joining, just go to our website. We have so many things in store for you. So, before I introduce to you our speakers this evening, may I remind everyone if you have any questions for our resource speakers this evening, you can type them in the comment section. We'll address them later at the Q&A session. Now, Let me introduce our first speaker for this evening. He is currently the Program and Project Management Manager of Accenture. He has extensive years of experience in both capability development and health industry. He started working as a training manager supporting service delivery operations with global and local customized training programs. He moved on to work as an operations manager for one of the largest US health account services here in the Philippines and India. He then worked as the global innovation manager for the same account. His team looks after all the initiatives that will deliver business value to the client. Here to give us some tips and techniques on how to successfully find a career in the digital landscape, please help me welcome Mr. Joseph Paulo Jayps Cedo. Good evening po, Sir Jayps.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Right. Yeah, so my name's Jayps. Been with Accenture for 12 years, and I'm here to share a couple of tips and tricks, right? But before we go there, let me just tell you a little bit about Accenture. Um, so if we go to our first slide. So Accenture is a global professional services company with leading capabilities in digital, cloud, and security. So combining that with unmatched experience and specialized skills across the 40 or more industries that we support, we offer strategy, consulting, interactive, technology, and operation services. So all powered by the world's largest network of advanced technology and intelligent operation centers. So when I say largest network, we have over 537,000 people delivering on that promise of technology and human ingenuity every day, serving clients in more than 120 countries. Right. So we embrace the power of change, create value, and share success for our clients, our people, shareholders, partners, and communities. Right. Tell you about or a little bit about Accenture in the Philippines. So we've been in the Philippines for more than 35 years, right? So that's a long time. We have more than 55,000 employees here, just here in the Philippines, right? And they're all located in or housed in 21 different facilities across the country. We service more than 400 clients from here in the Philippines, and these clients are across APAC, North America, and East Asia, and Latin America, right? So all of these Accenture folks are what we call championing the innovation in the work that we do. So everyone is pretty much asked to do their jobs at excellent um, level, but also to think about how we can change the way the job is done, how the industry is run, and help be the first to make that change for that company and that industry, right? And that does make us an industry leader and employer of choice. I think third party surveyors who look for the um, employers of the year have chosen Accenture in multiple years. If I'm not mistaken, I think more than 5 or almost 7 years, right? Right. Moving to our next slide. So, well, today's CEOs are faced with overwhelming and competing challenges, right? And uncharted waters as they continue to navigate the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. So, out of necessity, the CEOs have prioritized the now, which is focusing on supporting their people, customers, candidates, and suppliers, and orchestrating responses to disruption on all fronts, right? So, in parallel, leaders have sought to stabilize revenues, take care of customers to reshape their business, and to align with evolving demand and find new growth pathways. So, not just the growth in their business, but also in the growth of their people internally, right? So what is the next normal, right? So before there were, before COVID, how do companies recruit talent, right? So flyering or door to door, or maybe this is actually something that applicants do as well. So I remember back in the day when I was flyering, fresh out of college, I would go to the companies that, what's this, that I wanted to be part of, right? And I would, when I was looking for a job, I would print out every day at least 10 copies of my resume. Make sure give that out, and that would be my work for that day, right? So I go door to door, go into the companies and say, hey, do you have an opening? Hey, if not, here's my resume just in case you have one. Hey, look me up, right? And if you're successful, you do get to have your face-to-face interviews, right? So this could be you're from Mandaluyong, you could be going all over to Alabang or going over to Quezon City, wherever that office is, all right? And before your interviews, you have your assessments on paper and all that stuff. So what is it now, right? And you see their social media, right? So social media, um, the internet, and that's changed a lot of things. I think everyone in the pandemic has gone to some form of online conversion of an activity, right? Um, so, for example, I didn't really used to have stuff delivered. When I do shopping, I personally go out to the mall, go out to the store. I like picking out what it is that I want to buy, feeling it first, and then paying for it, right? But because of the pandemic, I had to change my ways, and learn how to buy stuff online. And it's changed a lot of markets. Same way with our recruitment, right? Social media and the internet is where you look for jobs now, especially now that they're trying to keep people from or have them avoid physical contact. It is the next norm, right? If you are in online job platforms, you will see AI or artificial intelligence generated job boards. So you don't look for a specific job, or you can just post your profile, and the jobs that are similar to that or aligned to that profile do show up in your preferred jobs. Um, or if you pick out or if you apply for a job, if you guys are on LinkedIn, you apply for a job, it'll start giving you related jobs that you can apply for as well, right? So that artificial intelligence is working for us. A lot of different platforms are having that now, and that's being used by the companies as well to look for the different possible recruits that we have, right? And the interviews have gone from virtual, from actual face-to-face to virtual interviews, and the exams have now been turned into online, right? So how does that change the way we prepare ourselves for um, how we go about looking for a new job, right? So, right. So what's working, right? Sorry, if we go to the next slide, right? So, what's working? The way it is now is faster and more streamlined, right? So, application process due to virtual interviews and online assessments, we can really, for example, we can schedule a lot of interviews, one right after the other, right? Because we are doing it online, we can have interviewers helping out from all over the delivery center, right? Um, Online interviews and assessments ensure general safety and security, of course, for the candidates. Again, physical distancing is what we're trying to uh, promote, so that we help out with getting out of this COVID pandemic. And it has become cost efficient for both, the job seeker and the employer. So for those applying, you don't need to, um, spend so much on the commute, right? It's probably cheaper on the overall expenses as well. When you go out, you end up eating out as well, and all those side trips that happen before or after, right? So what doesn't work is, it does lessen the personal interaction between the applicant and the recruiter. There is a higher fallout rate due to technical difficulties, and there is a higher percentage of unresponsiveness. And applications get rescheduled or interviews get rescheduled, right? So what can we do there? Or as an applicant, these are some of the things that you can do, right? So go on, next slide, please. Right? And this is how you want to stand out. There's only a number of things that you can do, especially if it's online, right? So confirm your attendance, right? Advance, commit to your schedule, online appointments. You can't confirm your attendance if you're not monitoring your communication pathways, right? So if you applied for a job, check your emails every day. The schedules will come to you at least 24 hours. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the standard for at least all of the companies that you want to join. So if you're checking your emails or your um, social networks, if that's how you applied, that's where you're gonna get your interview schedule. Make sure you confirm your attendance. If there are multiple ways that you can confirm your attendance, please do so. So I try and respond to the email. If there's a text message or a phone number that they send over, I send a text message as well, just to make sure that one, they get the message, and number two, they actually show or get some sign that I do want to be part of this conversation, right? I am looking forward to this interview and interaction, right? Number two, dial in early and prepare for any technical setbacks, right? Sama na rin natin yung third, which is ensure stable internet connection. This is the same prep that you do. Let's say if you're going to a face-to-face interview, you check out the traffic, you leave early, you try and get to the interview location early. Same things, you just convert it to a digital. If you're trying to avoid traffic, pretend that that's the same thing with your internet connection. If you have other folks or other people in the house that are using up that bandwidth and you know it's a very important interview for you, ask them to, stay off Netflix for now. If it's a 30-minute, 1 hour interview, I think they can uh, let you have the internet all to yourself. But even if that internet connection or speed is not enough, think about other ways that you can bump up your speed for that time frame. If let's say your mobile internet is faster, or you can pay for a day um, speed bump on your mobile internet, use that. It's just for an hour. Just make sure you don't have any internet connection there. For technical setbacks, take a look at your invite. Is it going to use um, what's this? A video conferencing tool that you haven't used before? So you might want to try and log in or launch that app a day before, so that you know if it doesn't work, you can inform your scheduler that something's wrong. Anything that you can do to prepare for that interview, right? And look presentable during your virtual interviews. So I know, um, working from home or taking the interviews from home, we tend to be a little bit more relaxed. But um, consider this an important interaction. So if it's like any other date that you would prepare, look nice for, you should take your shower before. I tried to shave for today, just so I can try and mimic that example. And it does help with making you look presentable, right? Make sure you're in a good location, conducive for the interview. If you have to lock yourself in your room, please do so. Get your lighting. I think a lot of people have already invested in those pin lights or those um, the ring lights. I'm using two actually right now, and I'm hoping that it does help with making my presentation better, right? So clean surroundings, no noise, anything that would take away from your interviewer's focus on you. please do so. So if you have anything in the background, let's say weird posters or clutter that would, make the interviewer just look at that instead of you, try and remove that, right? And that should help with keeping the focus on you, right? So with that, I'd also like to invite you guys to take a look at Accenture Innovation Leaders Program, right? So we have the link there. It's pretty quick to memorize, accenture.com/AILP. And this is where we're building the future Accenture leaders. And then we're doing that as early as today. We will always have growth. And with that growth, we will need new leadership to take us to the next level, right? Um, Also, something if you want to learn more about Accenture or this program, please visit also accenture.com slash PhD students, right? So let's flash that next slide. Okay. All right, well, I'll say it again, accenture.com slash PhD students, right? So if you want to learn more and this should have links on Accenture and the program, get to know us and see if you want to join the team. All right. With that, I will open it up to questions. Do you guys have any questions for me? Or Casey, if you have any questions prepared.
Thank you for the great advice and resources, Sir Jayps. So let's go over the comments here and see if we have some questions. Mm,
I can see introductions.
yes, we have so many uh, people from different parts of the Philippines. Let's see the comments.
And the length and breadth of where we are able to reach nowadays, um, I was getting a lot more nervous. I was seeing participants from all over the country. Nueva Ecija. I was expecting just the Manila folks. Angeles City.
Mhm. Uh,
And
so
there's
while
a
we,
request
ah, yeah.
for sorry, there's a request for shout out. I'll shout out if you ask a question.
So, while waiting for the other participants to post their questions, I do have a question, Sir Japes. Is there a
Mhm.
difference between the approach with professionals versus students when it comes to the application?
Yeah, I think we've noticed some of the differences. But the mindset I think is where where that main difference is, right? So I'll share something. So when we're talking to someone who's already has experience, right? I think
Mhm.
one of the things that we look for is that the manifestation of that experience. The questions would be leading towards what did you do when you experienced this? What did you do when you're faced with this kind of situation, and so on. Um, but for students or new graduates, right, it's more about what they've learned. And I think one of the things, if you're a student, one of the things that you might want to highlight is how fast you can learn. And that's something that's I think that's underrated and not capitalized or highlighted enough when people apply for jobs. I know you guys will come from a specific specialization with your fields and course, but not all of that is going to be applicable to the job that you will be taking. So learning will be a key factor in choosing people, right? So, well, when you do have your application, make sure you highlight that this is me. This is how fast I learn. If you can say that, okay, I
Mm.
tried to study this language, it took me 2 months to study that language, and now I can build from scratch using code, or not copy pasting code from Google or whichever. So really typing it out letter or character by character. So that's one big thing that you can highlight.
Oh, wow, that's a very good news then. So the qualifications are there, but it's also very important that the applicant is very willing to learn
Yes.
and is teachable. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. So we have a question from Emmanuel Agustin. Would you recommend new graduates to work on personal IT projects first to have experience before applying for a position in a company?
Um, so I would say you can do both, right?
Mm.
Everyone would always want someone with experience. So if you've done something and you can highlight that during your interview, like I've done this, I've done that, that would be great. All right. Um, I'm not sure if that will always relate to the job that you're going to get. Right. So most of the time, it won't be the perfect situation, right? So you apply for a job, and it won't be the exact job that you really want. What you might want as a job or a profession might be the next role you get, right? So let's say for some folks in Accenture, they'll take the earliest role so that they get into the door because they really value that Accenture is one of the biggest companies, and they want to be part of the company and then move from within, right? Um, so I suggest you do both. Apply if you can get into the company that you like, and you can use your time and ingenuity to promote initiatives or innovations within that company. I think you're going to be hitting two birds with one stone with being able to progress your skill set and also progress your brand within that company. So that should help you move up the ladder a lot faster. But if you haven't gotten any offers yet, that's fine. Use your spare time, try and create some projects for yourself. If you can do some freelance work, so you can hone your skills and create a product that you can stamp with your name on it, then that's good too. I think it's just a matter of timing. But what I can say, it's the same thing I shared before. If you're looking for a job, your job is to look for a job. So that means if you're going to spend 9 hours or 8 hours on a job that you take, if you don't have a job yet, your job is 8 hours of looking for a job. So you wake up, you do your normal routine, eat your breakfast, eat a heavy breakfast, dress up, feel good, and start looking for a job. And you do 8 hours of that, right? You answer your online forms, answer your questionnaires, and all that stuff. And that is how you find a job. You don't find a job just by sitting on the side, apply, click once, then go play ML or something. No, the job's not going to be looking for you. You have to go and do your bit as well. And trust me, all that will be the difference with you landing a job sooner than the other person.
For sure. So, uh, I guess it's always better to always explore your options. Experience is a good thing, but you can also expand more. Just always put in effort in looking for a job.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's try another question. Let's see from Jemary Erica Sevilla. What are the qualifications that your company is looking for an intern or an employee? Because we
Um,
also have some students here, graduating students.
Right. So qualifications. Well, I think that's part of the intro that I had, right? So Accenture does cater to 40 plus industries. So are really looking for a wide variety of qualifications. So we might be talking, or this forum might be more on the tech side of it, but Accenture isn't looking for just tech-enabled folks. So we are looking for skills across the board. So we have support for industries or across the health industry, um, health and public service, communications and high tech, finance and accounting, so anything and everything. Now, if you go to Accenture, there's probably what's this a posting that would line up to your skill set. Look for those, and you can apply there. No need to worry about creating or trying to customize your skill set to meet a specific set of qualifications. Because for Accenture, it's very very varied. So be it intern or an employee, it's the same. But I would again highlight, if you can showcase how fast you can learn, because with the different industries that we support, everything is changing. The tools, the technology, even the practices, they change um, almost every day. So some of these things you will have to learn. So no matter how you set up your skills through college, there will be a lot of learning involved. So make sure that you can highlight your learning capabilities.
Wow. Okay. So I guess also in these times, there are so many opportunities. So it's good if you can also look for the type of job that you also
Mhm.
want to go to. So you don't need to really, as you have said, to really uh,
You
meet
don't need to
all.
reinvent yourself, right? Yeah.
Yes, to meet all qualifications. So just look for the job or the job title that you think would suit you and your skill sets. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. So let's go. We have so many questions now. Let's go to another question we have from another one. We've read that. Okay, from Jolo Salvador. Does having less experience will lessen your possibility of employment, especially if you are a fresh graduate?
Um, well, probably from the get go, yes, right? But it also depends. Now, if you're looking at a field that you think you don't have that many, what's this, competitors or co-applicants, um, then you have a little bit of a leeway. Your less experience, so to speak, isn't going to be a factor. But if you're trying to gun for one of the more sought after roles, right? Then that becomes part of your um, cons, so to speak, when people are picking you out. So, um, and this I think happens a little bit or a couple of years into your work life, so to speak. So when you start working, again, I think people will be looking for how good you can learn, right? But once you get into the company and you're applying for you have some experience, you're applying for another role. So make sure you what's this? You work on that, right? So when you get in, look for your next goal. What is your next role that you wanna gun for? What's the next role title position that you want to go for? Read the job description of that and see how much of your experience lines up to that. That's as early as you getting into the company, right? So let's say you get into a company and you promise yourself, 2 years from now I'm going to be team lead. Take a look at the job description today, so that in 2 years you have 2 years to prepare what your experience will be like. So even if you have minimal experience, but if your experience lines up to all the requirements of that job, then you're the best suited person. So less experience, maybe not that much, but more on targeted experience, I would say, right? So pick out the stuff that you want to spend your time on, so that it does line up with the career that you want to have in the long term. I
Okay,
hope
that's
that
a
answers.
very yes, that's a very practical advice. So I guess it's really important for you to start somewhere at least and then build up your goal from there. Okay, so next is from Carlos Samson. What was the most difficult interview question that you had? Tell us your experience about it and how to overcome it.
I think my earlier years, my difficult interview questions would always be the ones where they're asking for your um, uh, what's this weaknesses or what's your downside. They'll frame it multiple different ways, right? So some people will say, why would I not pick you, or what is your greatest area for improvement, or something like that. Um, so I had difficulty with that because I didn't like lying, but I also didn't want to be the one to take me out of the contest, so to speak. If I share my weaknesses, right? But as time got on, and I was the one conducting interviews, I figured out that there are some skills or traits that can be a good or a bad thing, right? So, for example, um, I'm very what you can use is that what you can say. You can start with I might be stubborn, right? And some people say, okay, so that's a bad thing, right? But no, you can turn it into a good thing, right? So when I'm stubborn, when I'm given a task and I think it can be done, or I think this can be researched, or so I really push for it, and I don't think anyone can stop me. Even my parents could stop me if I wanted to do something. So I'm that stubborn. So when it comes to projects that I like, there's really nothing stopping me. There is no what's this? There's no roadblock, there's no problem, there's no technical issue that I will not be able to overcome because it's something that I want. I'm just stubborn that way, right? So that's how we were able to get over that difficult question for me. But that's something you prepare for, right? And that's still something that you have to think about. So think about that question. You might get into that question and see how you can present yourself truthfully, but still highlighting the best part of you.
Okay, thank you. So turn your weaknesses into your strengths.
Mhm.
Okay, so we also have from Emmanuel Agustin. Is it required to have a portfolio even though you just graduated?
I would say no, right? I think having a portfolio makes you a better candidate, um, but uh, I wouldn't say that that's a requirement. We would, I would definitely hire someone who doesn't have the portfolio. Um, if they have, let's say, the willingness to learn and the I think the right mentality and personality that can get along with a team, right? So we're not looking for a rock star. We're looking for team players who can, you know, be good working individually, but you put them in the team, they actually make the team work better. It's more engaged. You want to get on. So those are some of the things, and I would say portfolios um, are a good thing. But again, too much of something can be a bad thing. So if let's say you have a wide or huge portfolio, but you don't have a job yet, people are gonna start questioning. So why don't you have a job? You don't want to get to that part where now they're questioning why people are turning you down, or they have different scenarios in the back of their head.
Mm.
Um, so I play that safe, right? So have a portfolio to showcase your skills, right? But not too big that people question it.
Okay, thank you also for that. Next is from RB Onairam. How to overcome imposter syndrome?
Casey, you're gonna have to help me with this one. Imposter syndrome. Parang hindi ko gets. What's imposter syndrome?
I guess it's someone who would question their abilities, or they're not really confident, or they feel like they're not being true.
Okay.
So something to do
Um,
with the confidence, I guess.
okay. Well, if it's around there, then um, uh, how do you say this? Practice is one thing. So there's many ways to go about it. Practice is one of the things that I tell people. So I mean, I get invited to have these be part of these talks, right? And I'm part of big presentations in the office, and some people ask me, "So, Jayps, how did you get to be that good?" Or, how did you hone that skill? It's practice. For whenever you're doing an interview, um, practice what you're going to say. So, for example, introduce yourself. Have you actually said the words of your introduction out loud, right? Talk to yourself in front of the mirror. Not just write it down and not just have it in the back of your head. Actually say it out loud, right? that's where you start figuring out what are the words that get you tongue tied, right? Or how fast your brain works versus your mouth can actually speak. Um, it doesn't usually line up. Some people, they know what to say, and when they start talking, they talk too fast, right? So this helps you become yourself, or your builds your confidence, and helps you get out what you're trying to say, right? So practice. If you want, write down a script, read it out loud, edit the script, read it out loud. If it's part of your job hunting or it's part of your prep for your uh, interview, make it part of your job as well to practice some of your answers to your interview. So what makes you a good learner? What makes you a good coder? Or whichever skill you want to highlight, practice your response.
Okay, so practice. Some people say you can also use a mirror. It's like
Yes,
rehearsing.
yes.
Yes, okay. So we'll take two more questions. We have from Jeffriel Cortez. Is it okay to use a background effects that blurs the background during the interview? Since we're
Yeah,
in
I
this.
think that
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's fine. I was trying to get the background effect actually uh, for this presentation, but the what's this? StreamYard isn't accepting my background. It's not what's this solid enough that it kind of makes the background hazy. So I decided not to. So yes, if you want do a blurred background, I think that's one of the more professional ways of going about it. But look at it as well so that you're it's not eating up too much of your face on the side or something like that, because that can be distracting. So if you're going to use a blurred background, make sure you have a good background as well so that whenever you move your head like that, it doesn't become pixelated on the side. That can be distracting. That can work against you.
Okay, so as long as it's not too distracting,
Right.
also.
Not the loud backgrounds. And again,
Yeah.
anything that
Or
takes away from you,
have
it's
people
fine.
walking around.
Right.
To also be professional. We always have to remember to be professional. Okay, last question we have from Jan. What do you believe are the most important qualities in a developer or another relevant IT position?
So for developers, I think um, one is your choice of language. I think if you picked out one that's high, the coding language that's high and upcoming, so that's good. Being able to work with a team, right, is another thing because you're not going to be building um, tools on your own. So it's something that you have to do with a team. So if you work well with a team, so that's good. Um, if you can try and experience agile, I think agile is more and more teams, companies are going the agile route. So if you know your agile practices and know how to conduct or be part of agile ceremonies, then that would be a big plus for you as well. And last, may not be specifically related to coding, but communication or how you communicate your ideas, your thoughts, your plans. That's something as well. So if you want, you have to be able to make sure if you're smart, make sure you can say the words because you're smart, your intelligence, if it's stuck in your head, it's not going to mean much to other people if you can't communicate it, right? So learn how to communicate your thoughts clearly and concisely.
Okay, thank you so much. So that's it for our question and answer uh, session. But it was very productive. But don't worry, guys, we still have another speaker next. And thank you so much, Sir Jayps, for the advices and resources and all the answers to the questions. So now we will be moving to our next speaker. Okay, so here. Uh, For our second speaker, he is the Application Development Manager of Accenture. He is a 10-year expert in design and technology. He is currently the Manila Innovation Hub Nano Labs lead in the Accenture Advanced Technology Centers in the Philippines, and also leads the design tower in the Accenture Liquid Studio Manila. As a Nano Labs lead, he serves as the key contact in the Philippines to keep breakthrough technologies of applied research and development in both physical and digital presence as client ready, and manages the local team and relationships with global Accenture labs, clients, and partners. He engages from client co innovation, design thinking workshops, to rapid prototyping to global companies. He delivers solutions with design principles or user experience using near mature to mature technologies like blockchain, data, cloud, user experience, interaction design, extended reality, and others. Let's all welcome Mr. Neil C. Good evening, Sir Neil.
Thanks, Casey, and thank you, Jayps, for setting it up at the very first topic for this afternoon. I really love what you shared about how we have transformed from the past few years. Okay, so I believe I'll be starting with my slide. If anyone can share it, please. But I'll start this talk with a little different and soft introduction for today. Let's just wait for the slide for to be pulled up. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. Okay, well, while waiting for the slide to be pulled up, as I mentioned, I wanted to start this a little different. So I was tasked to talk about how we can uh, become winners in our career in terms of our new normal nowadays. There you go. I can see it now. Thank you. So if you can go to the next slide, I'll start it off a little uniquely and differently with sharing this UX about a banana because user experience is one of the concepts that we normally do and one of the newer concepts rather that we use and do as a method on technology projects. So think about it, a banana, if you go in a store, there are a lot of fruits when you go to the supermarket, but if there's one fruit that is designed for the ultimate user experience, it's going to be the banana. So some of the traits of a banana is number one, it's easy to eat. You just peel it off. You don't need to do any training to eat a banana. You don't need uh, any knife to open a banana. The fruit is healthy in itself because it's known to make you happy. It kind of produces serotonin, which is known to alleviate depression. So it literally makes you happy after eating it. And finally, the color of a banana, as you can see on the screen, it's easy to know when it is ready. You don't need to understand it by dissecting it deeper. It's designed to be obvious by just looking at it. Now let's relate banana to user experience design and technology. There are definitely a lot of fruits that taste better than this fruit, but the taste is just one sense to experience a piece of fruit. So user experience design is about the entire experience from start to finish of consuming the particular product. And as technologists, StackLeague, which have this code compete connect, technology products and services have dramatically changed over the past years. And my goal at the end of this talk is kind of like put this new mindset, if you haven't heard about it, user experience, design thinking, and how you can use this mindsets and methods virtually and digitally, given that we're all staying at home. So understanding the different users interactions with the technology that we're developing, its capabilities, and making it as desirable as it can be takes a lot of research in strategic design thinking. Now, imagine if technology products and services that we design are very simple to use. It's personal, it's frictionless, and boundaryless and borderless. Now, if we go to the next slide, let me officially introduce myself. I am Neil C. I know it has been a mouthful already for the initial introduction, but I am the current Liquid Studio Manila lead and the Nano Labs lead here in the Philippines. Now, if we can go to the next two slide for the video, just to officially kick it off on what it looks like on our day-to-day operations on my studio. Next slide. Right. I don't think we have the audio, but that's totally fine. So the studio is where we normally co-create and co-innovate with our clients. And since we started working from home, the immediate shift that we did when we did everything remotely is to identify the different tools and methods that we can use and leverage on virtually and digitally. And I'll be sharing in a bit more about those details on what can be the more friendlier collaboration tools, what can be the more friendlier approaches that you can do so that you can continue innovating even when you're at home. And up until now, even at this remote and virtual way of working, we still continue co-innovating with our clients and customers, and at the same time use the different technologies that are readily available there for us to have a more efficient and productive virtual setup with these current times. Okay, now next slide. Let's talk first about the mindset. I want to segment this talk to two different parts. So let's talk about the mindset and let's talk about how you can use that mindset in winning a career in this new normal. So our very own CEO, as you can see on the screen, recently or has said that the design capability and a design mindset must be in everything that we do, and it can't be a separate thing. It needs to be integrated. Now, if you go to the next slide, if you we talk about what is design in the first place. So design can't be separate. Our main proponent is our CEO herself. So one of the most essential factors shared amongst genius designers is creativity. And one definition that has defined creativity is Ying Shu Wang, that it is the intellectual ability to make creations and or unexpected solutions into existence, and that is how we innovate. So creativity, seen as a cognitive process, is great evidence that creative talent is an innate gift of genetics. However, it does take a good deal of knowledge, time, and process to turn creative revelations into realities. Now, if you move to the next slide, the main question that you might be asking right now, we are all technologists coming from a technology background, but can anybody be a designer? Yes and no. So, half of my career, I focused on developing software products. Way back then, 10 years ago, I normally use COBOL for 100. So imagine I've been developing software using the green screen without mouse, just the keyboard, and use the Alt tab. So that's my favorite. And I can be as productive as anyone with a mouse. And I'm proud of that, by the way. But can anyone become a designer? Yes or no? Yes, because with the effort and commitment that you can invest in learning, continuous learning, and reimagining your capabilities, you can become a designer. No, if you don't make an effort at all. And it's now an imperative for us to be creative because it's through creativity that we can really deliver record breaking and groundbreaking innovative solutions. Now, next slide again. One of the quotes that I normally look up to is from our CXO from Accenture Interactive, that design brings humanity to technology while helping businesses succeed. And it's really true. This is, in a nutshell, the mindset that I'm talking about, which is design thinking. Now, on the next few slide, I won't be drilling down too much here because it's just a lot of data. But next slide says that 10 years ago, if you look at it, when you go to the boardroom, for those who are professionals already and for those who are students, this is good knowledge that you can learn. When you go inside a boardroom 10 years ago, nobody talks about the concept about design. And it's not even part of the agenda of the CFO. But now, based on studies and researches, the indices displays that leading companies have chief experience officers or chief design officers in the boardroom, because if they don't do this, they're going to be outperformed by their peers, and eventually if they don't do this, they're going to be lagging in terms of their industry. And why do we need to do this? So based on Accenture studies, next slide shows that during the pandemic, around 50% of customers have totally revised their personal purpose and what's important for them in life. And we now call them, based on Accenture research, the reimagined customers. Because when they see a brand doesn't adapt to their updated purpose in life during the pandemic, they will particularly shift to a different brand that custom fits and tailor fits the brand to their updated needs. So we really need to change with the accelerating disruption that is happening now everywhere. So these are just some nuggets that you can look it up. But the main essence of it is we need to change so that we can adapt to the rapidly changing technologies and also human needs that is happening everywhere. Now, how do we do it? I know that has been a very long introduction, but how do we do it? So now going to the next slide. We do it by this mindset that we call design thinking. Now, going to the next slide further, uh, if we talk about design thinking, if you Google it up, it will give you a dictionary definition that design thinking is a set of methods and tools and principles that helps you have an empathetic approach in first identifying the problems, which is the very messy set of lines here. So first identify the problem and later on identify solutions for that particular problem. Now, the major difference that we have understood and learned from the past couple of years is for us to really make relevant products for our customers. And this is one of the things that you can also use as an additional angle or lens as a technologies is be empathetic in designing products and services. So our goal on the next slide is to really be in the middle. So we want to be here. We want to merge design and technology because design and innovation is more relevant and more impactful if we do those blends all together. So desirable user experience, we want that. We want to make users happy if they use our technology. Technical feasibility, of course, we need to understand if it's really even possible being developed. And finally, business viability. We don't design products and services that doesn't return any revenue to the business. Because at the end of the day, it should be a mix of all of these items and balance it so that we can have design and innovation at the center. Okay, so how do we do that? On another angle, I know I've been talking a lot of concepts here, but this is part of the introduction. On another angle, as technologists or maybe designers, number one, we're pretty much mature in terms of using data, analytics, and quantitative approaches of understanding a particular problem. But the newer concepts that we have now that makes us more winning on our careers and as an organization is merging qualitative data with the quantitative data. It's going to be more powerful versus just using quantitative data. How do you do that is by mixing the quants and the quals so that you can have a more impactful design product and services. Now, in a technology sense, how do you do that? So on the next slide, for you to understand how we do this inside the organization is if you compare the mindset of how we did it before to the current way from a culture that focuses on products, functions, and services to a culture right now that focuses on customer needs and the value with clear channels for customer feedback. So it's going to be more on using technology to understand your customer. So some of the examples that you have here is the knowing your customer at the innermost circle, wherein you use data and analytics of how the customer behaves. You use these insights to drive your product and services to their next releases. And it's going to be more desirable if you do this approach. And once you understand your customers in action while they use their technologies, you can then fuel in these insights to your strategic imperatives and also industry transformation and use more disruptive technologies. Now, the essence that I want to share here is we don't just use the traditional ways of getting qualitative insights. It's as powerful as it is way before, and it's still powerful right now. Doing interviews, doing observations, those are very powerful techniques. But with the emerging technologies of how you can understand your customers, it's even way more powerful. So try to think about maybe on your next chapter in your career, if you are at technologies, try to merge the quants and quals because it's going to be improving the customer focus of your product and service. Now, how do you sustain this? So the next slide shows you 5 practical tips. So this is the first segment that I want to give you guys away. So how do you do this in the organization. So reinventing the ways of working, in a nutshell, having growth mindset, organizational agility, and customer centricity to accelerate and sustain the culture of innovation. Number one, be customer obsessed. So for you to become more winning in your career, try to look at the lens of how the customer uses technology. We are technologists. I myself am a software engineer, from doing low level programming languages to higher level programming languages. It's great to start that foundational knowledge to be an expert for particular technologies. But as you progress on that expertise, you need to understand that the design of the product and services should be customer focused. Because if it doesn't hit the desires of the customer, the technology won't be relevant and customer focused. Always learning. So Japes said earlier, continuously learning, agile ways of working. So with this continuously changing ways of working and emerging technologies that we've been seeing in a rapid increase adaptation for the past couple of years, we need to continuously adapt and learn. Because at the end of the day, if we don't catch up with the rapidly emerging technologies, we will be left behind. So try to continuously and always learn. Creative. So for you to become innovative as an employee or as a student, you need to look at design processes. How can you design experiences versus just designing source codes? So if you try to think about, if you understand what is the source code that you're trying to develop, who is going to be using that product at the end of the day, then it's going to be more meaningful and purposeful for you as well. So try to think about that. Agile. So traditional ways of working from waterfall software development lifecycle, it is as powerful as it is up to this day. But for organization to adapt to the rapidly changing customer needs, we need to become more agile. So if you want to look up more about that, there's a lot of frameworks available out there, from Scrum, from Safe, and different other frameworks that really drives adaptability to change with high ambiguity for the requirements and features. So agile way of working, iterating with data and the rapidly changing market insights and customer needs is the must for you to become relevant and innovative and collaborative. So this is one of the most common pitfalls in an innovation agenda, because if you don't collaborate with the people that you're working with effectively, your ideas may not be understood clearly. So you need to communicate effectively. That's one. You need to use different tools, and which I'll be sharing more in the second segment later, on how you can continue co-creating in synchronous and asynchronous ways, because there is benefit for both ways at the end of the day. So that's the first segment. I will be going to the next slide. This is the last segment. I know it's a mouthful already, but we're almost there. So if you go and go to the next slide, there's just a couple of slides and we can open the floor for any questions. So the major thing that I want, the last thing that I want to give you guys after this call is go into the next slide. How might we have a new, can you go to the next slide? There you go. How might we have a winning career in the new normal? So I have 4 or 5 tips that you can quickly adapt and use. So number one, go into the next slide. This is a supplemental item for the first mindset that I shared. Be technology conversant. If you are interested on new technologies, go ahead. The information and data is just on our fingertips, so maximize our references that is readily available for you online. Now, other things that you might want to use is, as much as understanding the technologies that you can use for software development, it is also worth clicking what are the technologies that you can use for you to communicate. So if you go to the next slide, I'm sharing this full stack of communication technologies. So in our organization, we use Microsoft Teams. You have Skype, you have Zoom, you have Slack, you have Discord, and it is as effective as anything else. We need to adapt to different channels that are available for you, whether it's free, whether it's paid, but at least have that communication channel open. The next one is technology for using. Can you go to the next slide, please? There you go. For another communication. So as much as synchronous communication is effective, you need to have asynchronous updates available also. So not everyone is available, especially we're working from home most, if not all the time at this time. So we need to have channels, we need to have Slack, we need to have different venues that you can update as soon as you have it, and update it simultaneously with the other people. So have a tool that can have not just the open communication channel, but asynchronous updates readily available at the time. Another aspect that you might also consider using is on the next slide. As students, this is available for you. As professionals, this is also available for you. Use collaboration tools like whiteboarding tools. So tools for online whiteboarding, my favorite, personal favorite is Miro, but you can use Mural. So Mural and Miro are online whiteboard tools that are very interactive. It has a rich set of templates that you can use. You can use this on team plannings, on team meetings, on co-creation done virtually. It's really effective. So I want to ask you guys to explore whiteboarding tools. If not Miro, Mural, you have your Microsoft Whiteboard. You have other note-taking or whiteboarding alternatives as well on top of Mural and Miro. And the next slide also displays this free version. So as Mural and Miro is a paid version, if you have a Microsoft Windows application, then Microsoft Whiteboard is readily available at your hands. You can also explore trying to look at sketchboard.io as an alternative online whiteboarding tool. Tip number two, for you to be doing and winning further. So going to the next slide, out of the box thinking and flexibility. So some examples here is what are the other tools that you can use. So as much as the communication, traditional way of communication via chat, via call, via video call, it's also worth considering what are the other tools that you can maximize. Butter is an all-in-one tool for workshops or virtual collaboration, and you can do this, and you can use this again. Figma, for those aspiring user experience designers, this is a very good tool that you can design screens for your technology solutions and also conceptual designs. So you can explore this and others. So Menti is good as it is. It's an interactive presentation software that is useful for online surveys, and games if you want to explore that as well. And other things like Spotify, Unity, and Cuckoo is there for your timer. What else do we have here? Just samples. So this is Butter. This is, I think, Figma and the Cuckoo timer. And finally, I think I'm down to my last couple of slides. This is one of the samples that we did, but I won't be draining too much of it. We also created and used Unity 3D during the pandemic to mimic a 3D virtual version of our office here in Manila. So tip number three, being ready in all formats. There is no one format for everything. So whether it's in learning and development, another angle for your continuous learning, this is an example that you can gather, whether free or master classes that are paid. So I want to encourage you also that whether it's a format that you're accustomed from the university, it's also good exploring different online courses that you can also at the same time use for your continuous learning and development. Okay, this is the most important tip that I'll be sharing to you before I end the call in the last first slide, mental resilience. So it has been really one of the principles that I continue adapting this current state. Try to listen to podcasts that can be of interest for you. So my favorite is Creative Confidence from the IDEO University, which is arguably the best design agency in the world. Daily Stoic, Adulting with Joyce Pring. These are some of the examples that can really be of help beyond our normal coping up techniques. And meditation. So the last tip that I would want to share is meditate. So there are a lot of free tools that you can use for guided meditation. I, for myself, am using Headspace. It's really effective. It's very UX. It's like a banana type of experience and service. So you can really use this particular tool. Okay, so I think I'm down to my last slide and we'll be opening the question. So my last few couple of asks is win by putting people at the heart of innovation, win by putting people at the heart of your career. Because at the end of the day, technology is rapidly changing. We learn the different technicalities of using technologies, but if we deliver and use purposeful products to our end customers and end clients, then it's going to be more sustaining at the end of the day. And last slide is don't forget about the banana. Imagine if we create technology products and services that were that simple to use, and it's frictionless, it's boundaryless and borderless. Again, last slide, I want to thank you for listening in. I am Niel Sy. I hope you have enjoyed my quick talk, and let's connect. I believe we can take a couple of questions before we end today's sessions. Casey, on to you for the Q&A.
Before we go through the comment, while we wait for the questions being posted, thank you very much. I think it was a very insightful talk. There are so many toolkits available online. Please make use of them, and especially now in the new normal. So, my question, Sir Neil, is can you share the top practical tips that to those professionals right now still having difficulty adapting in the new normal?
Yeah, so adapting in the new normal, there are a lot of not prescriptions, but online sources that provides different recommendations. But my first recommendation is listen to yourself first. So there's no one prescription that is applicable to everybody. It's good that you learn the different coping up and shifts to different ways of working, whether it's going to be mental health, whether it's going to be adapting to a more collaborative and differentiated way of working that can become more efficient. So my first practical tip is listen to your body. If you sense and feel that you need a break, raise your hand. It's okay to say that you need to take an off for the day because you need to have a mental break, or let's say you need to have a quick rest. It's okay to say and have an offset or a time off. So maximize your leaves. I know we have pre-allocated leaves as workers, employees here in Manila. Use that, even if you're just going to be staying indoors. Number two is try to catch up with the different newer ways of working, whether done virtually or done in the office. So I've shared a lot of tips around how you can shift from from me working heavily face to face with any clients and customers to working more remotely, and it hasn't been an overnight shift. So you don't need to compare yourself to others when you're transitioning. So it will take a lot of time for you to adapt. So don't pressure yourself too much. So as much as learning newer ways of working, using collaborative tools like the ones I shared, like Mural, Miro, Slack, or Kuku, then those are going to be some useful tools that you can use. But it's not going to be an overnight transition. So try to explore what tool stack or technology stack would be helpful for you. One technology that helpful for me may not be as helpful for you. So try to keep on experimenting and exploring different options. And finally, I think one of the most important practical tip is continuous learning. So I know YouTube, there are a lot of contents that are available out there, but there are also a lot of learning contents that are free. So as much as we are transforming our ways of working, it's also good to explore new technologies and types of work that can be of interest for you. So as I mentioned, half of my career, I'm a software engineer, and the other half is focusing on design work. So So I didn't do that overnight. So it's a continuously progressing learning experience, and I use different methods and sources, and that includes YouTube. So in a nutshell, number one, listen to your body. Try to take a time off if you need to. Number two, uh, try to adapt to the newer ways of collaboration because we need it, especially that we're working remotely. But it's not going to be an overnight transition. And lastly, continue to learn, whether it's going to be a new topic that you're interested in, or maybe it's a newer version of the technology that you're using right now.
Wow, thank you very much. So it's never too late to start learning and also to be patient with
Yeah.
yourself in learning new things. Okay, so we have a question here from Carlos Samson. What are the different apps that can be used for making user interface?
That's a very good question. Carlos Samson, thanks for that one. I'm seeing maybe a user experience enthusiast here, but some of the good tools that you can use are Figma. So it has been rapidly growing. Interactive screens that you can sync up at any time asynchronously with a team if you're working with a team or individually. So Figma is one tool that I normally recommend to use for user experience designer. For a more higher fidelity version, you can use the Adobe in Adobe Tool Stack. So that's one more expensive version, but it's also good using that particular design set tools. And another one is InVision. So if you want to explore another format that can be integrated to the developers directly, I think InVision is one of the more mature version that as a designer, if you do screens for UI, InVision is a better integration, I believe, for my own experience. So those are three different tools that you can use: Figma, explore the Adobe Tools tab, Design Studio, Creative Studio, and also InVision. Those are three tools that you can explore for UI design.
Okay, so please do take note of the free tools you can use. We also have another question from Jamari Sevilla. You've mentioned that meditation helps you clear your headspace. How was the experience when you started doing it?
Thanks, Jemery, for asking. Uh, it's tough at first, no? So it which is why Headspace is a good tool because it's guided meditation. So at first I was really thinking about myself, what am I doing? Is this really going to be helpful for me? I didn't know the long-term effects of meditating until I experienced it doing in the long run. So I've been meditating for I think almost 2 years now. So at first it's going to be uncomfortable because you need to compose yourself, remove any disruption or obstruction at your mind because you need to have a clear space at your mind. And that what Headspace is doing for you. So it's a guided meditation that wouldn't require you to start a 30-minute meditation because that's going to be too long for a starter. So if you're just starting meditation, it's okay to be uncomfortable. You might find it funny at the very first few days you doing meditation, but Headspace helped me to segment it from beginner, intermediate to doing more advanced set of meditating. So the beginner way of doing it is Headspace is providing you, I think it's 3 to 5 minutes tops on the first 3 days. Then as you get attuned to it more, it increases your time frame for meditating, whether it's 15 minutes or 10 minutes, depends on you. Uh, and it should become a habit for you to see the long-term effects for your mental clarity at the end of the day. But don't be too hard of yourself because there's this tool inside Headspace that shows you have a continuous streak. My longest streak myself is 120 days straight meditating, but I kind of broken that streak at some point for some personal reasons. But my advice is whenever you're starting this habit of meditating, don't be too hard on yourself to do it daily. It's okay to not do it the next day or the day after, but my recommendation is if you're forming a habit like meditation, don't go beyond 2 days off. So for you to create that habit, it's okay to miss or skip it the day or next day. But if you want to make it a part of your habit or routine, try to start meditating with a duration of max 2 days tops of off. And yeah, it's going to be helping you long term. The benefits is not immediate, but it's going to be giving you more clarity and more headspace.
That's also a very good tip and advice. I think it's very important to keep a balance between life and work. So, all you can it might be awkward at first, maybe on the first few tries, but keep in mind that you can also work better if you have a clearer mindset when you're working. Okay, thank you very much. We have another question from Chrysler Loy. What is your take on using Adobe XD? Would you also suggest using this one?
I myself, I haven't been really using Adobe XD for most projects. My suggestion, if you're starting your UX UI design work, it's good to use Figma. Figma is free. It has been updating features. If you want to use Figma for your workshops, it's also possible. So there is a Fig Jam feature that is kind of like creating whiteboards that you can use via calls with your team and co-create designs with them. So my take on Adobe XD, I haven't really been maximizing this tool, but it's one of the alternatives that you can use. My suggestion is using and exploring Figma because it's an all-in-one tool stack for co-creation, UX UI design, and also a living document for your design system and design work, whether you're doing it individually or with a team. So Figma is the key for me. That's a personal recommendation, but yeah, Figma is a very good tool to use.
Thank you for that suggestion. We also have from Jeremy Tenorio. What is the difference between user interface and user experience design?
Okay, so this is a very good question. So I started my career, as I mentioned, as a software engineer, and I have just been uh, coding and designing interfaces with the least consideration of how the users will use it. And that in place is user interface. You don't consider, or you may consider how the user will use it, but you don't invest the time and design methods to really understand what can be the best type of presenting that in a user interface. So user experience is understanding what your customer feel, see, hear, and prefer to use, whether it's a technology product or a service. So if you use those design methods, and it's a different realm of practices in versus technology, which is why I'm advocating for design plus technology because it's really going to be more powerful if we have these two mindsets together. So user experience is talking about understanding and hearing the customer. Like, hey, customer, what do you think about this UI? Or how do you want a particular service to behave? So that's where user experience is. It takes understanding and strategic co-creation with the end users of your application to really design an application that they would love to use. So the word there is love. We want our products and services to be loved by the customers, not just liked, because we want them to have a desirable user experience. So we normally merge these two concepts together. It's UX, UI. So it is in turn an equivalence of desirable technology products and services that are represented well on how a particular set of customers would want to use the product and service that you want to develop for them. Another angle, if you're interested, Jeremy, is beyond UI and UX. If you go on top of it, there is also service design. So, and I'll reserve that for you to research more. It's a totally different topic, but after UX UI, the bigger picture is service design. Hope that helps.
Okay, so that's an assignment for Jeremy. You can
Yeah,
search more or research more about service design if you want to know more. Okay,
yeah.
another question from Edrain Nico Tavares. Do we have any mobile applications where we can practice designing user experience? Mobile applications.
Mobile applications that I would recommend, uh, it's available on web and on mobile. But if you want to practice, number one, I want to do this in two ways. For you to practice UX, you need to learn first. So one of the good sources that you can learn is try to subscribe in YouTube first in Don Norman. They have a very good set of UX principles and concepts there. IDF is also a good source. So it's Interaction Design Foundation. There are discounts and uh, lower fees for students joining. For professionals, of course, it's going to be a little more expensive than students. But IDF, Interaction Design Foundation, has a very rich set of uh, recommendations of how you can progress your knowledge in user experience and in general interaction design. So one of the simplest way of practicing design is go to figma.com. So it's the easiest way for you to create mock-up screens uh, digitally. But the most fundamental and basic way of practicing is use your pen and paper. So user experience doesn't need to be all digital at first. So I myself, I normally sketch using this grid paper and using my pencil. You can create mock-ups or screens. And eventually you can also design how this particular screen will behave and something like this. So if you can look at it, I'm not sure if you can see it. So pen and paper, whether it's post-it, whether it's gridded, whether it's blank, it's a good medium to use for a very low fidelity version of your screens. And you can design UX from that as well. If you want to go to the next level of creating more higher fidelity and digital versions, then try to use Figma or InVision or Adobe XD. They are pretty much useful practice tools. But yeah, merge it with learning and apply what you learned, whether it's in pen and paper or whether it's in the digital platforms in the forms of Figma and other alternatives that I mentioned.
Yeah, so maximize any available resources you have. Okay, so from this is from Jeffrey L. Cortez. What code editor can you suggest?
Wow, 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 wow. I haven't done coding for the past 5 years, but uh, I would say the languages that I normally recall now to be really hot in the market is Python and JavaScript. So it's not a code editor, but if you can explore what are the different IDEs, I think if I remember it right, it's called IDE, right? Uh, Try to explore it more. I haven't done coding for the past couple of years, but I'm not sure if GitHub is one of the platforms that you can use for editing your codes, but it's one. In terms of programming languages, one of the things that I recall is uh, JavaScript and I forgot the other one, but those two that I mentioned, and GitHub.
Okay, that's a trip down memory lane. Thank you very much. We
Sorry,
also have
sorry. I want to apologize to Jeffrey. I haven't done coding for the past 5 years. I did some reviews, but and more in the design space. But yeah, I'll be happy to connect offline and if you want to explore more about this. But yeah, those are some of the things that I can recall. I hope it makes sense and it aligns to your question.
okay, yes, you can message Sir Neil if you want more
Sure.
uh yes, more if you have other questions for him. So next is from Brian Abando. How do you keep up with design trends?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. So in Accenture, we have a design and innovation arm called Fjord. So every year, we are releasing researches from the different studios that we have globally. And we have a very good footprint around the globe from our Accenture Interactive Fjord. Uh, and they normally release Fjord trends. So this talks about the different trends that they identify from the local ecosystem, rolling it up to the bigger global way. So if you want to look up, it's Fjord Trends, FJORD Trends, and this is being released annually. So you can explore here the different behaviors of the customers. And again, the design trends should adapt to what the customer trends are. But a good and rich set of design trends would be Fjord Trends. Another trend that I would want to share is on top of design trends, you can also explore technology trends. So we also have this thought leadership tech vision every year that we're releasing annually, and it talks about what are the new emerging technologies that you would want to explore and invest in, whether personally or as an organization. So as much as understanding the design trends via the Fjord trends that is being released annually, it's also good to infuse it with what are the different technology trends via our Accenture Technology Vision, which is also being released online. And you can explore all of these in Fior.com and Accenture.com at the same time.
Okay, so if you want to know more about these trends, again, you can visit the websites mentioned by Sir Neil. Next is from Carlo Alfonso. What was your design process and how did you validate your decisions?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So design process may vary depends on what are you designing? Is it a product? Is it a service? Is it a product that uses technology, or it's a tangible product that users use themselves? So, but one thing that is constant with the design process is really design thinking. So, invest time in understanding the fundamentals of how you can use design thinking, not only as a process or method for designing and researching, but understanding the customer and setting it up as a mindset. So, there are rich set of recommended recipes, as we normally call it, and you can use it, which is a collection of different design thinking methods. So the very first part of the design process that we do, at least for a bigger high level version, is the double diamond process. So it's a double diamond process because the diamonds represents whether it's diverging or converging. So diverging means it's the opening of the diamond, which means that you're up for quantity. So it's okay to have a lot of information, insights, and design options at the first, because there is the closing of the diamond, which is the converging of the process. So it's a double diamond approach because there are two phases on what I use as our design process. Also, the first diamond represents this discovering and describing. So we dedicate a lot of time in researching and understanding the customers by doing research. So discovering and describing, diverging and converging is the very first phase. This is where we output more refined versions of insights that will fuel our design solution later on. So that's the first diamond, discover and describe. The second diamond is creating prototypes and designing your solution, which is ideating and prototyping. So similarly, it has an opening diamond and closing diamond. Opening diamond is create low fidelity version of designs, whether it's in paper, whether it's in Figma in a very low fidelity version. Then as soon as you have a good set of features from that initial low fidelity prototype, then you can create a higher fidelity version, thus creating a more interactive set of vision. So that's the nutshell of the design thinking process that we normally do, and it's the essence of how we do design. But if you're talking about designing UX, UI, definitely you can use Figma. So if you're working alone, and I suggest it's better if you're working with another designer, so it can fuel up different angles for designing a particular product. Try to do it synchronously and asynchronously. It has a lot of benefits. Let's say you're designing for a particular screen for a mobile application for financial services. So definitely you will be creating different screens and mock-ups for that particular intent, wherein the information that you put there will be coming from the research that you did at the very onset. So that's the first thing. Try to create lower fidelity versions first before creating higher fidelity, because if you start doing a lot of intricacies on your design process at the early onset, it might be a waste of time because you need to have uh, testing with the users. So this may be on the second point that we have here. How do you validate? So this is where you can test the prototypes that you create with the actual customers that you are targeting. So let's say you're designing a financial services application for students. So why not try to present and have a sample population of 5 students and have them validate your prototype or your low fidelity prototype at first. Then get their feedback. Feedback is key for iterating and improving your design. Because if you don't incorporate the feedbacks on your iteration, then your design wouldn't matter or may not be desirable for your target personas. So validate your decisions by asking feedback, by presenting in your mockups and prototypes with your target customers and users, and from the feedbacks that you gather from those testing, whether it's usability or user testing, incorporate it on the next iteration and refinement of your prototype or your idea. So I guess that's in a nutshell of a design process. There's a lot of it patterned in the design thinking way of working. But as you move forward in validating your decisions for the design that you chose, get feedback and incorporate the feedbacks to your refinement and iterations.
Okay, thank you so much. So, from research to prototyping and then feedback, very important. Then you can build up from there. Next is from Romiel Vicente. Update? Do we need to get update to the latest technology trend for our profession?
I believe yes and no. So depends on your chosen career track. I'll be transparent here. So, for example, if you are a data scientist in the making, so definitely there will be a lot of investments in logic on how you design your algorithms, the accuracy of your algorithm. So you have to focus on your main capability first. So if you're let's say a data scientist in the making, then the fundamentals of data is in your logic, in your design process of the algorithm, its accuracy, and 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 the design of the algorithm, all in all. So if you're a professional and you already have a preset of capabilities that you need to deliver as part of your work, definitely focus on maximizing and becoming an expert on that work that you have. In terms of adapting to the latest technologies, then once you're good at the fundamentals of your technology stack and career, let's say, then it becomes a yes now. So if you haven't, let's say, the gateway is if you haven't, let's say, uh, get to learn the fundamentals and become an expert on your set of work, then maybe a secondary priority would be given to getting up to date with the technology trends. If you're done with maximizing and learning different things from your work profession, then it's good to proceed with adapting to the latest technology. That's my perfect personal opinion. Because at the end of the day, it's good that we learn new things from day on and day forward. But if we leave the main essence of our work in our profession behind and we don't progress on our skills on that side, then we will be lagging also with our peers. So we need to preserve. What I'm trying to say, if we need to preserve and learn our profession first before adapting to the latest technology. But if the latest technology that you're talking about is going to make you more efficient in your current profession, then the answer is 100% yes. If it's a technology trend that is really aligned to your profession, then the answer is 100% yes. And if it's the technology that will make your team more efficient, more productive, then the answer is 100% yes. So you have to balance it. If it's a clear disconnect with your profession, it's a passion. So it's okay to get into that, but try to preserve your profession as well before adapting to very different technology. So you have to balance it out.
Okay, that's also a very good tip. So evaluate yourself first and then try to explore or preserve, as what Sir Neil said, make sure that you can also keep up with your peers in your profession. Okay, so let's go through two more questions. This one is from Nathaniel de los Reyes. How do you handle pressure from a customer that demands more beyond your expectations?
This is, I won't say this is a reality, but this is a common uh, question that you also get when you're being interviewed, as Jayps mentioned, diba? So there are a lot of questions that are behavioral. So I remember this is one of the questions that we normally ask. How do you handle difficult situations? So number one, there are customers. So as much as they're not respecting you with foul words, try to listen to them. It's normal that we have irate customers. If you're working in the services industry, then there will be a lot of irate customers, maybe because we have caused some inconvenience for them. So it is our responsibility as providers of service to them to listen to their feedback. Maybe the one at failure is our service provider or our staff. So we really need to invest some time listening to them. So number one is acknowledge that your customer is irate, uh, and your customer has a feedback to give you. Uh, and as long as they're not using foul words and disrespecting you, then try to listen to them. Once you're done understanding the current situation first, then that's where you identify what is the proper route for the next steps. So I see pressure here. So that's a second layer for this question. But if it's a pressure and it is beyond the expectation, not your expectation, but it's beyond the expectation on the agreed terms in the service, then that's a no-no. We have to understand what the customer has signed up. I'm not saying you have to look at the legal documents, but for sure we know what are the limitations that we can give to the customer. We have to understand if the ask is not part of the service that we have agreed to provide to them. If it's not, then definitely it's a no-no. We have to explain that it's not part of the service, but we can take note of this and agree that we can revisit it later on a revised service, let's say. But if it's a pressure that is part of the original set of agreed, let's say, service that we need to provide them, we need to make actions. We're not promising that we'll be solving this problem or the cause of the pressure and ask from the customer overnight, but we are going to be putting this on priority so that we can improve the service for you. So we have to balance, and number one is understand the situation. Uh, is it part of the service agreed on? Is it part of the uh, service that we need to provide to them? If yes, then we need to make actions. But if the pressure is beyond the set of expectation that you need to deliver, and we need to deliver to them, then we should educate them that it's not part of the service. And more importantly, most importantly, ensure that they don't disrespect you. Because if the pressure is equivalent to disrespecting you, then we have to escalate it.
Okay, thank you so much. So communication is key. It's also better to be respectful and also be understanding. Okay, so the last question for our session this evening is from Bernadette Kagitla. What's your prediction on the trend of user interface in the next 5 years?
Wow, this should take a lot of research, but I'll tell you what I see in the next 5 years. And again, this is not backed up with Accenture research, but I see design to be more simple and flat. That's coming from my personal preference and personal researches for two reasons. So as as companies are trying to adapt to the reimagined customers that we have, we need to have UIs to be hyper personalized on whoever is using it, whether it's our brothers and sisters who are definitely abled, whether it's our senior citizens. So the UI should adapt and be hyper personalized to whoever is using it. So that's the trend number one. And trend number two, being a minimalist myself, in the design work, I'm seeing that there will be a lot of flat and straightforward design. It's going to be less on, I would say, very ornamented and very decorative types of UI, but it's going to be more plain, more flat, and more straightforward. And that is equating also to providing a better and less friction user experience via the UI that you design. It's going to be hyper personalization and creating more simplified and flatter set of UIs in the next 5 years. And that's just me. So that's based on my reading, that's based on how I see it, but I might be wrong. But that's how I maybe look at a possible trend of UI in the next 5 years.
Okay, so personalized and minimalistic UI trend, maybe in the next five
Yeah.
years.
And I'm
From
looking forward
personal,
to it.
yes. Okay, so I think that would be the last question for our session this evening. Thank you very much for everyone who has posted or written their questions. Thank you also again, Sir Jayps and Sir Neil, for imparting your valuable knowledge with us. And to everyone who joined us this evening, we hope this has been very helpful in your future endeavors. So before we end, or before we officially close today's session, we have here some announcements. For Accenture, we have for Accenture, for those who want to discover more Accenture opportunities, you can follow the guidelines here. You can submit your application by scanning the QR code or by visiting the site or the website accenture.com slash PH students. Again, accenture.com/slash PH students. Again, thank you for joining us at this StackLeague Accenture career session. If you also know someone who should be part of the league, please invite them to register now at stackleague.com. See you at the next StackLeague event. Have a good night.